Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Wes here with Grady Space. I am so excited to be bringing you this video. The reason I'm doing it is because I just picked up the guy that I'm probably the most excited about that I've got in my gallery now. I worked harder to get this guy than I have with any other player so far. It was countless offers, going to DMs. I really, going to Twitter. I did everything I could to try and get a copy of this guy, and I finally pulled it off, and I think I got a really good deal on him. And I am so excited. And I'm going to tell you about that. First, a couple other things. So I've been getting a lot of requests about Asian League SoRare Data, doing a format similar to what I did with the US. Looking at the MLS players, trying to find budget guys and different guys in every kind of price range. That's coming. I've almost finished putting that data together. It took me about 100 hours to do the MLS data and then get those videos created. Asia's been a little bit quicker so far. Now that I've kind of got my format down, but it's still a ton of work and trying to get everything tied together because, one site will have someone named, Kim Soo John, and another one will have it John Soo Kim, and it just makes it a nightmare trying to tie everything together and make sure that I've got the right player tied to the right different metrics. So I've been trying to clean that up and get that all sorted out. I think I've got it. I've got it in a good spot, but I'm going to finish, get that pushed out to you guys because I know you want it and I want to provide it for you. Additionally, I got approved to become an affiliate for SoRare, which I'm excited about. So you notice I haven't been putting my referral link out there. That's because, we're not supposed to do that technically as YouTube influencers. Not that I think I have any influence, but that's not really in the terms of service. That's supposed to be used for friends and family, things like that. So, I want to keep everything above board and, not abuse the platform. So now I've got that affiliate link, so I'll be dropping that in my description. I think everybody that watches these is already playing. But the reason I think that's important is to kind of tease up this next conversation. So I'm going to be making some MLS fantasy videos. All the research that I've done is going to be, based in SoRare Data. But it's going to be packaged a little bit differently, trying to, cater more to just the MLS Fantasy Soccer fan, not so much SoRare fans, and trying to pull them into the SoRare platform because, the more the platform grows, the better for everybody. I think there's about 30 to 50,000 people that play MLS Fantasy every year. So, if I can get 1%, 5%, 10% of that interested in SoRare and coming onto the platform, that's a big win. And I think it, just continues to expand the reach of SoRare, which is, good for the platform, like I said. So those videos will be coming out. I think there's going to be a lot of value in it for SoRare still. Like I said, that's where, all my research and data collection came from. I'm just going to package it a little bit differently. But those videos will be coming out. Feel free to, not watch those if you don't want to. There's going to be some overlap with the videos I already did. But I promise there's going to be a lot of value in there if you do watch. All right, enough of that. Let's talk about who I picked up. I'm excited. All right. Carlos Gil. There is the man. I am so excited to have him in my lineup. I also picked up Marky Delgado. So Marky I picked up actually, someone commented on one of my videos, said he got him as a referral reward, but wasn't, not the guy he wanted. So I messaged him. We talked about doing a trade. It wasn't quite going to match up. It wasn't the guy he wanted to trade for. So I made a cash offer, asked him what he wanted for it. We were able to work it out that way. So that was exciting. I think he's, a really solid midfielder. I was reading something that said he's the Toyota Prius of midfielders, which I thought was pretty funny. And, looking at his SoRare data, I kind of see what they meant. He, just super consistent. Will get you kind of right in that 50-point range, last 40, 52. So, he'll just plug right into my Global All-Star D4 lineup and just be, consistent as could be there. So I'm excited about that. Carlos Gil, though, I want to tell you about him and why I was so excited to get him and why I worked so hard to try and get him. So, before I do that, so I think an important kind of thing here, right, is I told you how hard I worked to get this guy. The way I was able to finally pull it off was I found someone that had him listed on the market. It was Owl Trader. Maybe you've seen him. He's pretty active, both in Discord and in the secondary market. This guy has a ton of cards. Like if you look at it by league, right? I mean, he's got almost 1,200 Jupiler League players, which is just insane, right? 350 MLS. But I say this to say, this guy has a lot of players, and I worked with him on Discord. I saw he had this card listed. It was out of my price range. I didn't have the cash. I had cards I was willing to trade that were a fair value, right? I wasn't coming in trying to lowball offer this guy. I came in and said, hey, this is about the same value. I got these 3 cards. Are you interested? He said, no, you'd have to throw in some ETH on top of that. And eventually we worked it out to where, it was what I thought I got a good deal, and he felt like it was a good deal for him. So, it's important to find these different kinds of managers in SoRare that you can get on Discord and work out a deal, because Carlos Gil, right, his trading range was around 4.5 up to 0.6. And I just didn't have that kind of cash, but I had enough cards kind of built up that, had appreciated in value since I bought them some, to where I was able to, work this deal out, put a little bit of ETH with it, and, kind of come to a deal that works for both sides. So I would recommend, check out this guy's gallery, because he's just got so many cards, that if he's got something in your price range that you're wanting, try and find him on Discord. I think he's got his name right here, Powell Trader. And try and work out a deal with him, right? I mean, he obviously, has a pretty big budget, so he's not necessarily trying to nickel and dime. I didn't get that impression anyways working with him. But, go in here and, hey, I see you've got him. He's worth about 0.15. I've got these 3 guys that are worth 0.05. Would you be interested in working out some kind of deal? And, just only speaking from my experience purely is what it is. He was responsive, which is important, because, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to get a deal worked out and, not being able to get anybody to answer. He was responsive and he was fair, right? I mean, we came to a deal where I left and I felt super excited. I thought I think I got a really good deal on him. But at the same time, he got a lot of good value too, right? I sent him Kessler and Herbers, 2 guys I'll probably try and pick up again, honestly. But at the time, I just didn't have the cash and I needed to, trade somebody. So it's 2 guys I feel really strongly about. And then Edison Flores, a guy I like, who I've mentioned in previous videos, but I'm upgrading from him as a midfielder to Carlos Gil as my new midfielder. And I'm just so excited about it. So, anyways, last year, he came off, had an Achilles injury, which really set him back. Then he kind of ramped up. And then once he got into the playoffs, started getting a little bit healthier and started rattling off some really big scores. So, he's kind of a do-it-all player for him. He really gets forward in attacking and drives the attack forward for New England. They've got some really good attacking players like Buxa and Bo. But he's the kind of guy who's going to track back, get the ball off his midfielders and defenders, and carry it forward and really just initiate the attack. Can score himself, gets a lot of assists, is really just the engine that makes New England run. And I think New England's going to be a really strong team. They lost in the semifinals last year on a really close game to the eventual champions. So they're a really solid team. And like I said, he's the engine that makes them run. Only 28 years old. I think, honestly, someone he's comparable to in my mind, and keep in mind his price point here, right? 0.45, maybe up to 0.6. I really think the most comparable guy is Lodiro. In terms of play style, in terms of quality, he's not at Lodiro's level. I think Lodiro is probably, him and Pozuelo are the 2 best midfielders in the MLS. I think Gil is just that one step below them. But, I think he'll have a similar look to this when he has a full season. It's going to be all in the green. He's going to have the huge weeks where he's up in the 90s. I mean, you saw his thing. He had 2 100s, even with the Achilles injury. But Lodiro is going for 1.5, right? I mean, it was 0.7 almost a month ago. So he's about half the price of that. And to me, that feels like it's too big of a gap. And I think, based on what I've seen, I think Lodiro is probably fairly priced. But I think Gil is just such a discount right now. And I think part of it's because he only played part of a season. And maybe part of it is just people aren't as aware. Because he did come back from injury and he had a few bad games in a row, right? So let's look back at his real quick. I think that kind of, makes these numbers look lower, 50 at 57. but that's because he had, 4 games here where he's coming back from injury and not starting. I don't know if he started in these or not, but so he didn't start 4 games when he came back, and then once he did begin starting again, he was putting up 100, 92, 81. So I'm super excited to have a copy of his. I think moral of the story with this is find a guy you want, understand what a fair price is. There were some, I could have gone and tried to pay 582, but that wasn't what he'd been trading around. He'd been trading around the 4.5 to 5 range, and that's probably where I ended up paying. Obviously, it was a trade, so it's a little bit murky, but figure out who you want, figure out what a fair value is, and then go find these guys, right? Find them on Discord, find them on Twitter, shoot messages out, and just ask, hey, would you be willing to trade them? If so, this is what I've got. Definitely want to make you a fair offer. That's important. I think a lot of people, just lowball. But just, bring a fair value to the table and just ask the question. I never had anybody be mean to me. I actually started some really cool conversations with some really cool guys. That started by me asking, hey, would you be willing to sell this copy? It just, I'm super excited about it. I didn't even realize it's 4 out of 100. That's pretty cool. One of the earliest cards of his. But anyways, so I'm super excited about picking this guy up. I hope that you guys can learn from this. Maybe take this as an example for how you can go about finding good values on good players, finding guys coming back from injuries. And then if there aren't just a ton of sales volume right now, because there's not, he only has, he's got 64 minted, so that's a good number, but they're not minting right now. They haven't minted since March 13th, so it's been about 2 weeks. Go out and find the people who own the cards of his. Find the guy who has it listed at 0.582 and go and send him a message and say, hey, would you be willing to work out a deal with me? I think I got a great deal by doing that. So hopefully some of you can put that into practice, maybe do the same. If not, no worries. Just wanted to share my story because I'm super excited about it. It's kind of what this Road to Glory series is about, is just documenting my journey, letting you know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, so you guys can follow along if you choose to. More videos coming soon. Like I said, we're going to have the Asia Leagues. I'll start with the J League, then I'll do the K League. Similarly to how I did the MLS, right? Finding different players at different price points. And then some MLS fantasy type content as well, to hopefully appeal to a bit of a different crowd and still provide you guys value as well. So, it's going to wrap it up for today. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the engagement I've been getting on my channel. If I brought you value, give me a like, give me a subscribe. SoRare Data, I want to thank them. Their platform is what allows us to do all this research. They just came out with some really cool stuff on Twitter. If you're not following them there, they're essentially coming out with a bot that's going to buy cards on the market that are, look like it may have been user error, and then sell them back to the original owner instead of these bots that are just buying them and people lose their cards because of a mistake. The ethics of the bots are, beyond me. There's some really smart people working on that on the SoRare team, but the fact that SoRare Data is doing that is just amazing. I mean, the amount of work that they do for the community that is really just charity work is so great. So big shout out to them. Awesome stuff. And shout out to you guys for watching and staying tuned. If you're still here, I appreciate you. More value is on the way. More content is on the way.